Got Style Designs. My name's Pat. My channel is all about leather, techniques, supplies, tools, design, applique, braiding, and much more. Since I use fairly sharp and dangerous equipment and tools, this channel is for adults. If you like my video, please push the thumbs up button below and subscribe. Thanks, and let's get on with the video. Today's video is how to make a single loop leather braided buckle. Here's the material list. I'm using 1/8 inch Packer kangaroo lace, but you can use whatever kind and size of lace you want. You will need a buckle to cover. A plain flat buckle is the easiest and also looks nicest when completed. You will need to use braiding soap to make the lace slide and tighten easier. The recipe for braiding soap is in one of my previous videos. Super glue is for the last step when gluing the ends to the back. The small tools may help in the braiding process, and you need a very sharp small knife to cut the slit in the center of the lace. I use a scalpel for that. Let's start braiding our buckle. Look at first the one that I completed, that I just hurried to do it, so it's not the best job, but you can see what the completed version will look like. And this is what I started with, was just a plain, fairly flat buckle. And to make sure that you know where the front of the buckle is, the front is the part with the tapered over tongue that hits the buckle. So in other words, it's not this side that makes the tongue stick upwards. So make sure you start on the front side of the buckle so that your braiding knots will be in the correct place. Here's another buckle that I just kind of started and made a mess on just to show you that this would probably not be a good candidate for braiding. You could do it if you want, but it's got a lot of turns in it. It has thickness changes and it's got width changes, and that doesn't make the braid look very pretty. First off, you need to measure the edges of your buckle. So maybe inches. Okay, it's about 2 inches across, and it's pretty close to 2 inches in width. So if you add the whole circumference of that, you would have 8 inches. If the buckle was only 1/8 inch wide, you would need about 7.5 times your outside measurement for your lace. But no buckles that I know of are only 1/8 inch wide, so you're going to need quite a bit more. And since they're all different, the only way to figure it out is to take your buckle and braid a certain amount, like on the larger piece would be the best. And you just go ahead and braid, an inch or so, and then you take your braid apart, measure it, then you pretty much know how much you're going to need, except for you need to add for, you can see how the corners take up more than the flatter space all the way around. And on these, see, I should have gotten all of these absolutely equal, but I was kind of in a hurry to make the video that someone requested. And so I just went ahead and hurried and made it, because the whole idea is you want to learn how to do it yourself, and you'll be able to take the time to make it right. One other thing that can affect your braiding is having uneven lace. So you may end up having to split the lace, and you can refer to my YouTube splitting video to do that first. This is the one project where the lace should not be beveled. You want it to lie flat and side by side. So the first thing that we're going to do is get a piece of lace, and of course yours is going to be much longer than this, but I don't really want to take the time to go through all that lace just to make a few knots here. So first, you want to take something very sharp, like I have a scalpel here, and you want to just cut a small slit down here, about that long. Leave a little tail on your lace. And you just need enough, about 1/8 inch or so, for the other end of the lace to go through, just to get the project started. Next, we want to apply some braiding soap, and we need to do that particularly on this project because the knots are going to be very small, and if they don't slide well to tighten, they're not going to look good either. So just run that soap down your lace and make sure it's evenly coated. Now we're ready for the next step. And I've gotten the slit in my lace, and you can put a needle on the end if you want, or you don't just have to have one. It just makes it easier to go through the slit. You put your slit, I'm using a big dowel because if I hold the buckle in my hand, you're not going to be able to see anything I'm doing. So just pretend the dowel is the end of your buckle, and where we want to start is right where the tongue starts, right there. We want to start right there and go all the way around to the right and end up on the other side. So here's what we need to do. You put your lace here, the piece with the slit. You pull your other end of your lace around and make sure that it's straight as far as the grain side out. You take your needle and you go through that slit. Then you hold on to the top, pull your needle through, and it can go sideways to begin with, but at the end, when we get where we're going to start braiding, you pull it where it's square, and you pull it really snug so it'll stay there. Next, to start our braid, the first few loops are the hardest to get going, and then it'll be stable after that. So you put your lace grain side out around the dowel. You come back over the top. You leave a little slack right here that you put your needle or your lace through. And it should kind of look like that. Next, you want to push your loops very close together at the bottom and take the loop in the back and pull it tight. It will pull really tight around the dowel. Next, you take your working end and tighten up that loop. So you'll have one loop here. To make sure that you have done it right, your flesh side should be up, but you're going to bring that around that loop, and you're going to go around and do the same thing you did again. Go all the way around the dowel, get the end so it's straight, make a little slack right here, put your needle in, and the flesh side will be up again, and pull it not too tight but just snug, or barely snug. Put all of your pieces up close together. Pull from the lace in the back till it's really tight, and that I mean tight around the dowel here. Then tighten your loop stitch and make sure the back is tight also. And when you tighten that, you're going to have another stitch there. Bring your lace around, across that stitch, go exactly the same way. You just keep going around. Make sure that the flush side is going to be up when you make a little slack there. You put your needle through and you make another stitch. But again, make sure that those loops are close. Then you pull from the back piece till it's really tight, and you can see it tighten up around this loop. And hold it with your finger, pull, and make sure the back is also tight against, and you can move them afterwards. You can make them up against, but you don't want to tighten when your loop is way over here. One last time, I'd like to show you how to bring the lace across that loop around the dowel, which will be your buckle. Keep the lace straight, give this a little bit of slack, go in here, and so that you end up with the flush side out, and at the same time you can be pushing this over, and every time though make sure that you pull from the back to tighten, and it'll pull this lace all the way around there and make it very tight. But then you pull the top to make that loop. Otherwise, if you just try and pull from the top, it will not ever get this piece tight. It'll just make a loop up here, and these will all be different tightness, and it'll really look horrible. Okay, you just repeat this all the way around your buckle. In the sides, you'll probably have one here. You'll go over the top of it to go out to here, and you may go over the top of that again to make your next loop. And that way you get around the corner and you just bunch them up in the inside. And then you'll start all the way around again, and you want to make sure all of these are nice and straight and that all of these are tight. Be sure as you're working to keep pushing all of these together so that you don't have the buckle showing through. I moved some of these, so now my buckle's showing through, but you want to keep pushing them together, and that way no buckle is going to show underneath here. So anyway, you'll go ahead and you'll braid all the way around until you get to this side. And then your last loop right here, I have them a little bit twisted, but your last loop will be right there. And what you do then is you're going to go to the back, and there's your first loop that you started with. I think you can see that. And then this is the one that we just ended. So what I do there is I'll cut this off. First I'll pull it down for a dry fit and see where it lays. You don't want to have too much of it there, maybe about that much. Make it fairly short, but not too short. So this is just about right here. It'll fold down and lie right there, and you won't even notice it. So the way that we do that, we'll trim this one off wherever we think it looks good hitting down here. Then we'll put a piece of paper out, and we'll take our super glue, and this Loctite super glue is like, I don't know if you can see that better. This is about the best glue that I have ever found for this type thing. So what you do is you take the cap off, and these two pieces squeeze the glue out so you don't have to touch anything. So what you'll do is you'll take the cap off, you put just a little glue on both sides, and then you'll fold it down right where you want it to be and push really hard. And you may want to use like a bone folder or an instrument to make sure it's really down there and stuck really well. And then this is the back side, the buckle, so you'll really never notice it. So that's the end of the buckle video, and your leather buckle is finished. You can use any different kind of lace you want, and just try it out, and just try it on one side. And of course you need to do that to be able to know how much lace you want anyway. And remember, the braiding soap is pretty important because you got really small loops right there that have to be able to slide. There you go, you have a new braided buckle. Stay tuned for my edge braiding and applique videos next, where we'll also use the braiding soap made in my first video and the splitting and beveling technique shown in my other videos. I will try to post new videos every Friday. Subjects will also contain lots of other leather techniques and information. If you like this video, please push the thumbs up button and subscribe button so I'll know that these videos are useful to you. Thanks for watching.